Hi, I'm Warren Sprouse. You're on the Bible Forum. We're here every Sunday night from 8 until 10 p.m. We do it for you. I wanted to share with you some things that Dr. Thomas Sowell has recently said, written. You know Dr. Sowell. He's a senior fellow at Stanford University's Hoover Institution. He's a retired economist, philosopher, political pontiff, and all the rest of it. He's a best-selling author. He was born in North Carolina in 1930, but he grew up in Harlem, New York. He dropped out of high school at age 17 due to financial difficulties and problems at home, but went on to serve in the United States Marine Corps during the Korean War. Following that war, he received a bachelor's degree from Harvard, graduating magna cum laude in 1958. The following year, he received a master's degree from Columbia University. In 1968, he earned a doctorate in economics from the University of Chicago. He has served on the faculties of Cornell University and University of California, Los Angeles, and also worked for think tanks such as the Urban Institute. He's written more than 30 books, is a National Humanities Medal recipient for innovative scholarship which incorporated history, economics, and political science. Did I mention Dr. Sowell is African American? He is a social political conservative with libertarian leanings who came of age during the Jim Crow era. Here are some 25 quotes from this formidable thinker designed to make you think. Under the topic of education, he says, too much of what is called education is little more than an expensive isolation from reality. How's that? Health services. He says, it's amazing that people who think we cannot afford to pay for doctors, hospitals, and medications somehow think we can afford to pay for doctors, hospitals, medications, and a government bureaucracy. Of course, if there were people thinking, they wouldn't think that way. When it comes to government and politicians, he talks about the real minimum wage. You know what the real minimum wage is? He says the real minimum wage is zero. Economist. He says socialism in general has a record of failure so blatant that only an intellectual could ignore or evade it. That's called sarcasm. Capitalism knows only one color: green. All else is necessarily subservient to it. Hence, a race, gender, and ethnicity cannot be considered within it. The first lesson of economics is scarcity. There is never enough of anything to satisfy all those who want it. The first lesson of politics is to disregard the first lesson of economics. He don't make this up. These are truisms. You resonate to them. You say, yeah, that makes sense. Look at it. That's the way it works, huh? He says it's hard to imagine a more stupid or more dangerous way of making decisions than by putting those decisions in the hands of people who pay no price for being wrong. No accountability. He says you will never understand bureaucracies until you understand that for bureaucrats, procedure is everything and outcomes are nothing. Thomas Sowell on the workplace. He said people who enjoy meetings should not be in charge of anything. Talkers are usually more articulate than doers, since talk is their specialty. The least productive people are usually the ones who are most in favor of holding meetings. on taxes and entitlements. He says, despite the voluminous and often fervent literature on income distribution, the cold fact is that income is not distributed. It is earned. One of the consequences of such notions as entitlements is that people who have contributed nothing to society are the ones who feel society owes them something. One of the sad signs of our times is that we have demonized those who produce, subsidized those who refuse to produce, and canonized those who complain. You're starting to understand that logic is basic and simple. Can be funny. It is usually painful. On race, diversity, and multiculturalism, Dr. Sowell says racism is not dead, but it is on life support and is being kept alive by politicians, race hustlers, and people who get a sense of superiority by denouncing others as racists. He says the next time some academics tell you how important diversity is, ask how many Republicans there are in the sociology department. He's talking about teachers. Probably zero. Not because Republicans aren't interested, but the colleges won't hire them. He says what multiculturalism boils down to is that you can praise any culture in the world except Western culture. And you cannot blame any culture in the world except Western culture. And in conclusion, for those who are in lockstep with a particular political narrative on how they feel the world should be, Dr. Sowell says mistakes can be corrected by those who pay attention to facts. But dogmatism will not be corrected by those who are wedded to a vision. Take that.